The elections for the post of the vice president has been thrown into a spanner with the opposition India alliance today announcing former Supreme Court Judge B. Sudershan Reddy as its candidate. The name of Sudershan Reddy comes just days after the NDA had announced CP Radhakrishnan, who is the governor of Maharashtra, as its candidate, and said that all the NDA allies, which includes the TDP, have supported CP Radhakrishnan's name. Now, with B. Sudarshan Reddy being projected as the opposition candidate, a dilemma of sorts is in front of the TDP and other Andhra Pradesh parties, including YSRCP, which had already pledged its support to the NDA's candidate yesterday. So, what does this mean going forward? And does the India Alliance have the numbers for a contest? To discuss all this, I am being joined by Ajoy Ashirwad. He's political editor at The Wire. Thank you so much for joining us, Ajoy.
Thank you, Sravasti.
To begin with,
Yeah.
Ajoy, let's start with the fact that the India Alliance held a press conference today in which V. Sudarshan Reddy's name was announced by Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge. And one of the points that he said that this is not he said that it's an ideological battle, perhaps a hint to the fact that the India Alliance does not have the numbers in Parliament for a contest to challenge CP Radhakrishnan. He's called it an ideological battle and pitched B. Sudarshan Reddy as a pro-poor person who has always stood for all the values of our freedom struggle. How do you see, first off, your reaction on this name that has been put out by the India Alliance, which is completely different and a surprise in comparison to all the speculation that was going on yesterday?
Yeah, Sravasti, the first thing that came to my mind is, which is evident for everyone to see, is the battle clearly has shifted to the southern front, the southern political front between the NDA, and when NDA announced CP Radhakrishnan, its own old RSS hand, and to outwit them, the India bloc has also fielded a prominent figure, a constitutional, like a person who has held constitutional posts to kind of contest against the NDA candidate. Although this is the first observation. So, and the second thing is, I feel that the India bloc, although let me say it first, that the NDA has numbers stacked in its favor. And despite all the dilemmas, and despite despite a possibility that India bloc may get the support of certain fence sitters in the south, like BJD or YSRCP or BSR, even then the NDA is in a better position to win the election until and unless there's a substantial number of NDA constituents who move against the NDA and vote for V. Sudarshan Reddy, and I don't see a very big possibility of a situation like that. But what I still feel is that India bloc has managed to outwit the BJP this time. If the election is happening at a time when all of the India bloc and India bloc plus, which includes BJD and BSR, they are all kind of coming together on the issue of electoral rolls, and they have all been kind of criticizing the election commission on issues which Rahul Gandhi was the first to raise, and recently about corruption or adulteration in the electoral rolls and how election commission has played a partisan role. So the VP's election is happening in this context, and here by kind of fielding Sudarshan Reddy, India bloc is not just kind of as Mallikarjun Kharge said, is leading an ideological battle, but is also signaling that at a time when the outgoing Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar was criticized very widely that he is playing a partisan role, sitting in a constitutional position. Here, what the India bloc is kind of trying to signal that we are not fielding someone who is politically partisan. The last time they fielded Margaret Alva, who was a congressperson throughout her life. But this time they have chosen a former Supreme Court judge who is known for his progressive judgments and is clearly not seen from a political lens, and they have chosen it for a constitutional position, and they're signaling that that the India bloc takes constitutional bloc positions very, very seriously, as opposed to the BJP, which is compromising institutional autonomy of all constitutional positions.
Yeah, so here I just want to mention to our viewers that we still don't know where the former Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar is. He resigned from his post in July, and since then nobody has heard from him. He had cited health reasons for stepping down, but on the day that he resigned, which was hours before that, he was still functioning as the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, and he presided over the House, and he even spoke about two notices of impeachment of two judges of the Allahabad High Court that he had received. And it was basically business as usual. And hours later, at about 9:30 at night, we found out that Jagdeep Dhankar has resigned from his post. And just to come back to what this is, so that is the background
So
of this
someone
election.
also joked about Dhankar that someone needs to file an habeas corpus petition on Dhankar, because ever since he has resigned, he's not to be heard, seen, or generally he's not to be found anywhere.
Yes. So with the election basically happening in this background, and as Ajoy was saying, that nobody knows really where he is, and the election is due to take place on September 9th, which is a few weeks from now. But the fact is that Jagdeep Dhankar and the opposition were often at loggerheads in the Rajya Sabha, and the Vice President, just to remind our viewers, also functions as the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, and he was a polarizing figure in the Rajya Sabha, in that he was seen taking a clearly partisan role with the opposition, even moving an impeachment notice against him back in December. So that was the background in which Dhankar had functioned, and therefore I want to go into what the opposition's joint statement today said, which was read out by Mallikarjun Kharge during the press conference. He said that Sri Sudershan Reddy is the joint candidate since he reflects fully the values that shaped our country's freedom movement so profoundly, and the values on which our country's constitution and democracy have been anchored. All these values are under assault, and therefore our collective and determined resolve to fight this election. So a clear indication from the opposition, also the fact that that the constitutional position of the vice president had been undermined under Jagdeep Dhankar, with the opposition also moving that impeachment notice back in December. But the fact is, Ajoy, I want to come back to you on this, that yesterday there was a lot of speculation following CP Radhakrishnan's announcement as the NDA candidate. There was a lot of pressure on the DMK, and there was some speculation that the India Alliance would field somebody from Tamil Nadu to take on CP Radhakrishnan, who has been a two-term Lok Sabha MP from Coimbatore. He's also been the BJP's president in Tamil Nadu. But all that has been put to rest, and we saw Kanimoi today give a statement saying that we wanted somebody who reflects the not a divisive politics like CP Radhakrishnan, and therefore the name of Sudershan Reddy was decided upon. So how do you see Sudershan Reddy's name? Because not just because Tamil Nadu is going to elections next year, but also the fact that the YSRCP, the TDP and the BRS are in a bit of a position in this South versus South fight, that the BJP is clearly trying to make inroads in Tamil Nadu, perhaps through
Yes.
CP Radhakrishnan's nomination, but the India bloc throwing a spanner with Sudarshan Reddy there.
So, Shravasti, we all know that ever since Narendra Modi has come to power in 2014, every small election is a sort of political signaling. And every election to the constitutional position, be it the role of governor, president, vice president, even the speaker, everywhere there is some kind of messaging, either a regional messaging, or some kind of signaling which has the potential to appease a particular caste and community. India bloc and especially the Congress has not been up to the speed on this kind of messaging. What I see that India bloc has kind of now under the lead with Congress, there are two things which has happened recently: the SIR issue and the electoral rolls issue. They've all kind of the India bloc has come together again. Remember, a few months ago, we heard Aam Aadmi Party or Trinamool Congress leaders talking about how the India bloc was an alliance only for the elections, 2024 elections, and after that it is no more relevant. But in the last few months, we have seen at a time when there's no election apart from Bihar, which is a few months down the line now. But we have seen that at a non-election time, the India bloc has not only come together in the parliament, but also on the streets. We saw the India bloc's dinner meeting. We saw how the march in parliament and how all the leaders were brutalized by the Delhi police and taken were not given permission to meet even the ECI. And here they were all the election commission, also a constitutional body, has been kind of on a defensive bluster kind of thing where they're not trying to answer what the opposition has been asking them, but has been trying to kind of ridicule the opposition questions in line with the BJP. So some for a lay observer, what the ECI has been saying and what the BJP has been saying, there's a lot of commonalities in it, and that is what seems to be bringing together all these opposition parties at a time when there's no election on the horizon. And this is some kind of, and this has ideological meaningfulness for anyone who's following politics, because more often than not, the India bloc has been often dismissed by many neutral observers as some kind of an electoral opportunistic alliance meant only for elections. But this is ideological, and I am inclined to agree with Mallikarjun Kharge, who says that this battle is ideological, and even VP's election is that. So as far as what the BJP was trying to kind of do is appoint CP Radhakrishnan, and it was playing its own old game. What it is Narendra Modi, we all know, is clearly targeting the next Tamil Nadu elections, and CP Radhakrishnan, although he's a very old RSS hand, be, became relevant in electoral scheme of things also because of his caste that he belongs to. He comes from a Gounder community, which is very, very influential in Western Tamil Nadu, and Annamalai, who was he was removed, and Nayanar Nagendran, who was made the BJP president, who comes from another influential backward community, which is Tevar, and then along with AIADMK and BJP and the PMK, which is said to be a single caste party, which is a Vanyar party. They are BJP. The NDA is trying to forge a social coalition of Vanyars, Tevars, and Gounders, and it fits CP Radhakrishnan's choice, fits into that kind of electoral scheme of things. But India bloc, his choice is something bigger than that. It's not limited to just South or Andhra Pradesh or just Tamil Nadu, but they have of course chosen a southern candidate, but he's also a Supreme Court judge known for his progressive judgments, and also a judge who's also given, during his tenure as Supreme Court judge, also given many judgments which have gone against the UPA regime that time. For example, if you remember, Sudershan Reddy was the one who passed the order to disband Salva Judo, which in Chhattisgarh was headed by a Congress leader, Mahendra Karma. Then he was in 2013. After retirement, he accepted the position of Lokayukt under the BJP led the Manohar Parrikar's government in Goa, the BJP government there, and after some differences, he resigned after 7 months, and he was also when the Congress was in power, and there was a Telangana movement agitation going on in Telangana. He openly sided with the Telangana activists, the pro Telangana agitation, and he strongly supported the Telangana movement at the time when UPA government was in power. So he's clearly a person who has strong, who's known for his objective standpoints, and has not and has been able to kind of manage a career where his decisions are not seen in a partisan way. So this
That's
is
very
where
interesting. Yes, that's very interesting that you're
Sudarshan Reddy.
mentioning this. I also want to ask you, since you are talking about this, the fact that they have brought in Sudershan Reddy, who has worked with both the Congress and the BJP governments, in comparison to somebody like CP Radhakrishnan, who's been a lifelong RSS worker, and he's obviously served in Coimbatore. And but the fact is that, do you think the choice that the India alliance has made, that the BJP, there are some analysts who would say that the BJP, by projecting CP Radhakrishnan, wanted to put the DMK in a tight spot ahead of the Tamil Nadu elections next year, by putting a Tamil candidate who the DMK would have some difficulty in justifying not supporting. But the India alliance now, with putting up a candidate from Telangana who has worked with both Congress and BJP governments and remained objective, as you are saying,
Yes,
has the India alliance now managed to put the BJP in a spot, because now its alliance partners TDP, which
yes.
has 16 Lok Sabha MPs, it's now under it's now under the spotlight in whether it will support, go for Telugu pride, or whether it will stick to the NDA line,
No,
and
what?
also the YSRCP factor, where the Reddys are a huge factor over there.
Mhm. No, no, no. So, of course, the in Andhra Pradesh, the choice of Sudarshan Reddy will throw a lot of parties in a fix, because this is also in the recent times the first Telugu vice president candidate. So even although Chandrababu Naidu, if you look at Andhra Pradesh politics, they generally both these Chandrababu Naidu represent Kamma leadership, which is another influential leadership, and YSR Jagan Reddy, which represent the Reddy leadership and these are two rival factions. So what it will actually do is, like YSR Congress, Jagan Reddy he had already declared his support for CP Radhakrishnan, thinking that we'll support a candidate from the south. But now he'll be in a spot, because there's a Telugu person belonging to and perceived to be a person who's a Reddy. So he'll be under a lot of pressure from his own support base to support the India bloc candidate. And for Chandrababu Naidu also, although he may not get a lot of pressure from his own support base to support Sudhakar, but he has always played the Telugu pride political card in his life, and to not support a Telugu candidate in the VP's election will also put him in the spot. But what it also does is the Bharat Rashtra Samiti, BRS. BRS, Sudarshan Reddy is a Telangana-born candidate, and BRS has always has been critical of the BJP, but equally critical of the Congress in Telangana. And what it will do is, now it will have to choose between CP Radhakrishnan, who is a Tamilian, and Sudhakar Reddy. For them, I think the natural choice would be to support Sudarshan Reddy. So, despite all of this, if these three and BJD, which is currently waging a battle against the Election Commission of India, so if these kind of parties come together, it will be a huge victory in terms of political optics for the India bloc, even if it loses in terms of numbers, even if finally CP Radhakrishnan becomes the vice president just by the virtue of NDA's strength in the parliament. It doesn't mean, but if political optics wise, I think it will India's bloc will score a huge win, because it will, if these parties come together and support the India bloc's candidate, in terms of, it will be a bigger coalition in terms of the politics that will now kind of will see in the next few years. So, and by supporting Sudarshan Reddy, these parties will also make a message that that we will come together on issues and on around ideology or around these kind of regional sentiments. So India bloc has actually kind of opened up its political card and has brought itself up to speed in which it can actually challenge NDA, something which we did not see so much before 2024. But ever since 2024 Lok Sabha elections, when Narendra Modi came down to 240 seats, the India bloc has been kind of doing a lot of things which are kind of creative politically and also challenges NDA BJP's hegemony in more than one ways. If you remember, in 2022, India bloc chose Margaret Alva without building a consensus against Jagdeep Dhankar, and eventually Trinamool Congress and Aam Aadmi Party, they kind of objected to his candidate. They were not, they claimed that they were not consulted before choosing Margaret Alva. Margaret Alva was a Congress person. Eventually, Aam Aadmi Party declared its support to Margaret Alva, but Trinamool Congress MPs, they abstained, and it was bad optics, leading to a situation where Margaret Alva had to come out and criticize Trinamool Congress for breaking opposition unity. All of those optics are gone, and it is a completely different optics around B. Sudarshan Reddy now. Opposition is currently at its united best, and in a position where the fence sitting parties are also and in a dilemma. The candidature of Sudarshan Reddy has put them at a spot where they have to really make a hard choice. Even if they don't want to go against the BJP, they'll have to more than double think to support Sudarshan Reddy or not. And
So,
and
just to tell
yeah,
our viewers about the numbers a little bit, because you're talking about the support over here, that the combined electoral college, which includes the both the houses, includes 782 MPs, where the majority mark is 394. Now, if the NDA has the support of the YSRCP, which till yesterday it did, so YSRCP has 11 MPs, then the NDA has 438 MPs, while the India bloc has 320 three MPs. So this, of course, does not include non-aligned parties like the BJD and the BRS, as Ajoy was saying earlier. But the what is important to remember is that the majority mark is 394, and the NDA seems to be comfortably ahead in that end. But what we saw today in the press conference is that Derek O'Brien, TMC MP, he announced that the Aam Aadmi Party was not present at the press conference today. But that
yes,
does not mean that the Aam Aadmi Party is not supporting the India Alliance's candidate. And as Ajoy was mentioning earlier, that the previous vice presidential election saw the TMC breaking ranks, but this time we are seeing that a united opposition, which has got a booster of support through the electoral rolls problems that have been going on, and the fact that Parliament has not functioned at all through the monsoon session has come together to put forward this candidate. So, Ajay, coming back to finally on these numbers, that the majority mark is 394 and 782 MPs are to vote, and the NDA seems comfortably ahead, and the India, even with 323 MPs, is unlikely to get its candidate ahead. So a bigger messaging then, more than the majority mark. We know that Rajnath Singh is speaking to all political parties today. Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister
yes.
Kiran Rijiju said that the government wants a consensus candidate and would like the vice president to be elected unanimously. Do you see that happening?
No, even Nadda yesterday, while on the day when he announced CP Radhakrishnan's name, he said it wants a unanimous candidate, and it wants. It did not. He said that we don't want the elections to happen, but clearly that has not happened. And yesterday, Rajnath Singh dialed Mamta Banerjee also, Biju Janata Dal also. He's trying to get the BJP is trying to get all of these parties on board, but clearly that also hasn't happened. Today, Derek O'Brien was sitting right next to Mallikarjun Kharge and announced AAP support to Sudershan Reddy also by himself. So, and you see like how the opposition alliance has been moving ahead. Like around 2 weeks ago, when there was a India bloc dinner at Rahul Gandhi's house, when everyone came on the day when Rahul Gandhi gave the presentation of corruption in the electoral rolls of Mahadevpura, Aam Aadmi Party was not present at that dinner. But yesterday, yesterday, the day when the opposition alliance press meet, you saw Sanjay Singh sitting on the dais. So opposition is moving towards unity. It is gaining in strength, while NDA has shown no kind of. It has the numbers, of course, but over the last 1.5 years, NDA has no signs of expanding its footprint anywhere in the country, and that's why Tamil Nadu has become really important. Why I was talking about Tamil Nadu, this is. The recently Tamil Nadu in Tamil Nadu, Narendra Modi visited to commemorate the Chola dynasty, Rajendra Chola, Raja Raja Chola, uh, as if people of India did and spoke in a way to suggest that the Congress did not, or the opposition parties, when they were in power, they did not respect the Chola dynasty enough. And that's a complete lie, because Chola dynasty is hugely celebrated in India. It's a different matter that probably people in the RSS or in the Hindutva camp did not bother so much about the South ever, to kind of consider these dynasties also. And it's only recently when RSS or the Hindutva camp is gaining kind of some kind of footprint there and interested in having an influence in states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, or Andhra Pradesh. They are kind of exploring the Hindu histories there, Hindu dynasties history is there. But Chola dynasty is also regarded by the Tevar community in southern Tamil Nadu as their own king. So, and we all know that BJP recently appointed Nainar Nagendran, a Tevar leader who was previously with the AIADMK, as its state president. So, what for me, see, all these 10 years as a political reporter, I have covered that how BJP, in trying to expand its footprint amongst OBCs and Dalits, it has created a formula of consolidating underrepresented OBC and Dalit groups, and become such a big number that it could defeat dominant uh, OBCs. In Uttar Pradesh, it consolidated uh, the non-Yadav OBC groups and non-Chamar Dalit groups. In Haryana, it consolidated non-Jat OBC, non-Jats, and expanded its footprint amongst OBCs. Similarly, in Maharashtra, it kind of played a non-Maratha politics and consolidated other OBCs, underrepresented, non-dominant communities. In Tamil Nadu, after struggling so much, now it is doing just the opposite. It is trying to consolidate Vanyar, Gaundars, and Tevers, and all their political signaling and appointments have happened around these three communities, which are the most landed, wealthiest, and dominant OBC communities. So, what I'm trying to say, in Tamil Nadu, they're kind of building a coalition of the dominant, while DMK and the India bloc is now trying to build a coalition of non of the poor, of the marginalized. Look at what the India bloc is trying to say in its criticism of the SIR. They are trying to say that the SIR and the EC's partisanship, the undermining of constitutional bodies, or their campaign around safe constitution, they're all targeting marginalized and the poor, and they are trying to kind of build a coalition, social coalition, irrespective of caste groups, around these communities who feel underprivileged, who feel that they are being cornered. And BJP is now going the other way, trying to build a coalition of socially dominant communities in the south. And here, look at, and today what Sudershan Reddy's choice, what did Kharge say? Kharge said that he is known for his pro-poor judgments. In SIR also, the India bloc is trying to kind of consolidate the poor and is thinking about the securities or social and voting security of these marginalized Dalits and poor OBC groups, minorities. So it's like, and that is why I agree with Kharge that it is an ideological battle that we are seeing now, where India bloc represents the socially insecure, economically insecure people who are not being who are getting drowned in this huge publicity bit by Narendra Modi and his acolytes. And while the NDA, in his recent speech, Narendra Modi spoke only very highly of his government, while we know that many of those things are not true. And in electorally, electorally also, it is now short of ideas, where it doesn't know how to go about things. Its old formulas are kind of collapsing, as we saw in 2024 elections, and it is now experimenting again with the dominant people, dominant caste groups. So this is what has happened. And the VP election, if we have to look at it, we have to see it in this context, how the ideological lines are getting clearer by the day, where the opposition is now representing the poor and the marginalized. The NDA is representing only the powerful.
All right, so we'll have to leave it at that as we are running short of time. Thank you so much, Ajoy, for joining us, and to our viewers for watching. We'll have to keep our eyes on how the VP elections unfold going forward. Thank you so much for watching.